PB, I want to ask you this question. What can a typical citizen do? I mean, when we're looking at all these different things, how can they, after we saw what happened during the elections, what can a typical citizen, the typical person watching this right now, outside of just listening to the show, how can they get more active? How can they get more involved? Because if they're going to sit, we can't sit back and say somebody else is going to fix this problem, which a lot of people just love to do. Tweets, send a text, send an email. Is there anything more proactively they can do?
Oh, don't fall for the trap, man. Do not fall for the trap of relying on the government in any way. Don't fall for the trap. Become as independent as possible. Become a self-earner. Go create your own value in the marketplace. Educate yourself. Don't get emotionally tied to a political party just because your parents are Republicans or Democrats or, whatever they are. Look, my parents were Christians, but I was an atheist for 25 years. I chose to go become a Christian because I wanted to go study. I looked at Judaism. I looked at Christianity. I looked at LDS. I thought the best thing for me was non-denominational Christian, right? My parents, politically, they were on complete opposite sides. I went and chose to see. You've been voting Democrat all your life. Then you're voting Republican. Maybe you're an independent because it doesn't seem like you fully agree with everything Republicans do. You don't fully agree with everything Democrats do. Hey, go independent. Like an eagle flies faster if he's traveling like this, right?
With both wings.
Yeah, so if we're going like this, if we're going like this, we're just going in circles if we're like this, if we're far left. If we're like this, we're still doing circles. Just so you know, far right is going in the same place.
Right.
Far left, the eagle's still doing it far place. But like this, we're making real progress when we're sitting here, right? So as a viewer listening to this, if what we say or I say or Adam says or Matt says, you fully disagree with, great. Go do some more research, okay? If you say, I fully agree with, great. Go find even more leaks. I stated my 20%, then I said, be the devil's advocate. Because it's not like I don't know 100%. I think it's an idea. Let's now tear the idea apart, right? Patrick Lencioni, whom we're having at the event, he's got this one book called 4 Qualities of Extraordinary Executive. I think it's something like that. I had my entire executive team read it at the home office. We went through it. One of the things he talks about, argue, which to me it's what? Debate. Debate.
Healthy conflict.
Until eventually you do what? You sit there and say, you know what? Once we're on the same page, he says, move forward. Don't bring it up anymore. Okay? Let's just go and move forward. We're all on the same page. You won. His idea is better. Great. Let's go. We're moving on, right? I think this leads me to the whole challenge that we're facing right now with this whole cancel culture. Bill Burr got up and he said one joke, and everybody's like, hey, Bill Burr's not getting canceled. The other actress got canceled. And then, who's the guy from UK got canceled? What are you talking about? He's one of the best TV guys. I didn't say he's one of the most likable TV guys. He's one of the best TV guys. Everybody
Piers
talks
Morgan
about him. Yeah,
or
Piers
Ricky
Morgan.
Gervais? Yeah.
Piers Morgan is on, everybody talks about. That's exactly who you want. If I'm running Good Morning Britain, that's exactly the kind of guy I want. You don't want a vanilla guy. Hi, I'm John. I'm like this pretty boy white guy who says all the proper things. Bullshit. I want Piers.
Yeah.
I want Piers
to
be
paid
there.
for his opinion.
But the point is, so what if you disagree? He doesn't agree with that Megan told the truth.
Yep.
He has the right to say, I don't believe her, right? So we have to kind of know that this is a trap that you can't fall for. Sometimes a trap helps the people in your own party, but what you don't realize, long-term, you're next. It's going to come back to you and haunt you. And the biggest thing is don't fall for the trap. Go become independent. Be a self-earner. Protect your own family, or you don't have to one day look back and say, I cannot believe I made a decision. I'm now, having to worry about ... I have to be answering to someone's policies. I don't know. I think, to me, I had a guy over at my house with his wife Sunday night, and I love these guys. Their kids are over 3 kids, and we're talking. I said, look, you have to know one thing about my style of leadership. Here's how I work, and here's how conflict is started, okay? Just so you know. I ask you who you want to be. I ask you what you want. I ask you how serious you're about it. Once you commit, in my mind, I help you get there, and I'm your advisor to help you get there. Conflict happens when you change yours every 2 months and when you don't want to commit to your word. Then there's a conflict. I said, so who do you want to be? Because at the pace we're going right now, this is just not going to work out. Just telling you right, it's just not going to work out. You change every other day. So we sat down, we hashed it out 90 minutes. Boom. We're moving forward. We're in a good place, right? Okay, great. Same thing goes with, like today where we are. dude, we got to make up our minds about what we're going to be doing and what direction we're going. But we got to have the debate. We got to hash it out. We got to sit down and have the conversation. And then all of a sudden say, hey, we're on the same page. Let's move on now. So in the marketplace today, if you want to be somebody that's seen as a leader, you kind of got to go earn your stripes in the market today. Go earn them. Easiest time ever to become rich. Ever.
What do you mean by that? Why do you say the easiest time ever to become rich?
This is a joke right now to become wealthy. You give me somebody that's willing to read and willing to work hard, they're going to get the strategies and the stamina. Okay, if you show me somebody that's willing to work hard and improve, it's the easiest time ever to become wealthy. There's so many ways to do it.
Why do you think that is right now, you're saying?
Money's everywhere today. I've looked at a house, okay? Okay, one house I look at, $25 million. What does the owner do? Oh, the owner is the founder of the lights on the bottom of the shoes that when you kids would run, the lights would come up. He's a billionaire. Get out of here. Like, yeah. So I've looked at 20 homes in the last however long that are all 25 million plus, right? 20 million plus, right?
Wow.
What does he do? He AC company. What does he do? This one, everyone knows who this is. He has a drink company. Okay, like what? Famous Tequila. Okay, what does he do? What does he do? Okay, he was one of the shareholders of Berkshire Hathaway. What does he do? He was an executive of IBM in the 80s. What does he do? He was this. What does he do? There's so many ways to make money right now. Go find a guy like him, work as his right-hand guy, earn the respect of his shadow, everything he does, and then 5-10 years later, it's happening to you. The hardest part is finding the right people to shadow. Mm-hmm. It is by far the biggest challenge today. If a young guy, forget industry, if I have to choose between industry and individual to shadow, I'm shadowing the individual, not the industry. Go shadow the right individual. Forget about the industry. People are too much about find your passion, find your this. No, find your team, find your running mates. Forget about that. Find your running mates. Finance your passion. This whole thing about go find your passion. No, I finance my passion. I don't find my passion. My passion is baseball cards.
Yes.
But to me, I'm going to finance my passion. Yesterday, we're going through
your cards, your collection. A little bit of it.
A little bit of the collection yesterday. So finance your passion, but find your running mates. Mm-hmm. Find a team to run with.
Well, what's shocking, a couple of years ago at your first Vault conference, I was shocked by that young man who was 15 years old, and he mowed all the lawns to take he and his dad to the Vault conference.
Yep.
Teenager, 14, 15 years old. It's also shocking to me when I read the comments that follow Valuetainment, listen to the Bet David podcast, is how many teenagers are not only listening, but also making a lot of money. 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 teenagers.
Yep.
I'm floored, flabbergasted. So it's not an age thing. It's a desire thing, an education thing, an execution thing, following through and sticking with it, and not wavering on your commitments.
Did you think when you were going to start making $2 million a year? Did you think you and Sheena are going to make $2 million a year? When your life all of a sudden right now, like the kind of life you're living in, the house you're living, the rolls parked outside, the kids going to the schools, having the luxury.
Big shot in the dark. I'm going to be a millionaire one day without saying, okay, what's the strategy? Then once you gave me strategy, then it's just a matter of time. Mm-hmm. That's the cool part about this. You can just walk your way into an income goal based on time, effort, and sticking with it. The biggest thing I see is just what you just mentioned, people just wavering. Once they face conflict, okay, that's not what I really wanted, and let me do something else.
Yep.
Oh, that's not what I really wanted, let me do something else. I've never seen the book Outwitting the Devil. It's called Being a Drifter. They drift from here, they drift from here, and never accomplish anything. Look back in their whole entire life, said, man, I get regret. But in the meantime, I've been, trolling people online and dogging people out online, but really never accomplished anything myself versus instead of focus on number 2, 3, and 4. You should be focusing on, or instead of focus on number 1, you should have been focusing on your game and getting better and improving.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what you and Sheena have done continuously, which is pretty insane to see that happening. Anyways, Jack Hasso just gave $50. He said Trump didn't win, didn't focus on the Democratic voters. Big mistake. If he did spend the time to speak to them, he very well would still be president. Next Republican candidate needs to speak to the Democratic audience to secure wins. But David, 2024.
Yep. Thanks, Jack.
I agree with Jack on both sides. They need to speak to the other side. In 2024, somebody needs to be able to do that. Jack, I would have the conversation about running, but I was born in Iran. I think it's very important for people to realize. I will make a great advisor, okay, and all the other stuff, but one day if somebody like you wants to run, somebody like Matt wants to run, somebody like a guy in Bakersfield, what's his name? I forget his name.
Bless you. My
What's the
boy
guy's name?
Ricky.
Ricardo?
Ricky.
Your twin.
Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah, he owes me $1,000. I'm calling him out.
Does he really?
Still ducking me.
Get out of here.
Ricky Aguilar.
No
I'm
way.
calling you out,
He pays
bro.
his debt.
No, he doesn't.
Get out of here.
Every time I text him, he's like, new phone number, who's this? I'm like, come on, Ricky. Don't make me cancel culture you, bro. But let me just say one thing.
Sure.
And this is a kudos right here, because you said something very powerful that I actually fully agree with, and I'm sure Matt will as well. You said, if I had the choice of picking my field or the person to run with, the person to run with versus a field, I'm going to take the person to run with. Let's use you as a case example. How long did you do insurance
14
before
years.
you met Pat?
Yep, 14 years.
14 years, and you did okay. You maybe made 6 figures
Yep,
here and
250,
there.
350 being
Okay,
my biggest year. Yep.
all right.
Yep.
You met Pat, something changed.
Click.
Completely,
Yep.
right? So it was the person you were running with. You were still doing insurance.
Right.
But it was a vision, it was a purpose, it was a passion, there was a system. It was the person you were running with. You know, for me, I was living in South Beach. I was running around, doing whatever, hanging with who, whatever. I had to get out of my comfort zone and said, dude, the people that I'm hanging with in South Beach are not going to get me to the next level I need to get to. And I moved to freaking Boca when I was 26 years old and started running with adults. Guys who were in their mid-30s, started to have families, kids. My buddy Mark, who's my business partner now, I was his like junior associate cold caller, just, you know, minimum wage guy that he taught me the ropes. I had to have some humility and say, look, this guy's killing it. I need to shut the F up and just listen from this guy. He's an ultimate salesman. And now, you know, years later, 15 years later, our firm is great. It's awesome. But I had to have the humility to say, look, I'm 26, dude. I don't know everything. You know, I might get cool points for being in the club, but not in the business world. So it's very powerful what Pat said. So for the young people out there, you know, it's not about your passion. It's about getting focused on a career decision and a career move.
Running mates.
That can take you to the next level. And I mean, I'll even use my case example for myself. I was doing my own little show, Sos Talks Money, on social media. I didn't have a clear direction of where I wanted to go. Aligning myself with PBD and Valuetainment, woo-wee! Like, you know exactly where you're going, and running mates are so keys. So for young people out there.
20 million views. Think about it. You've had 20 million eyeballs since you joined Valuetainment.
Wow, that's insane. That's insane.
That's crazy, right? 20 million eyeballs. How often when you go out, people stop you and like, hey, so boy, hey, like, all the time. But,
there's Soy Boy Mafia shirts everywhere.
But the point I'm trying to make to you is, find the right running mates,
Correct.
the team. Get into that team. The right team can change your life. Then you can finance your passion.
Correct.
If it's movies, you'll fund your movie.
Right.
If it's motorcycles, you fund your bikes. If it's collectibles, you'll fund it. If it's anything, you'll fund it. But get in the right circle and running mates.
Totally
Do
agree.
you have a few markers you want to share to how to make sure you're picking the right team, the right person?
To me, character has to be at the top,
High
values
character.
and principles, because, you know, I can also tell you, when I was 21 years old, I got out of the Army, and temper was high, and I had respect in the streets because I had a little bit of a reputation. So a guy from Colombia, a guy from Bally's, who introduced me to a guy from Colombia who was one of the biggest dealers in California, and he was selling stuff from Colombia. And you know what they sell from Colombia?
A coffee.
High-end websites, right?
Yeah. Coffee, websites. Yeah, of course.
So him and I meet. He says, hey, you know, we need to go for a job tonight, and if you do this, we'll pay, you know, such and such money. It was a good amount, cash. And I'm like, okay, what do we need to do? So we went to Marina Del Rey, and we went to one of the yachts, collected some money. It was $100,000, and it was, you know,
big website deal.
A nose
Big
candy
website.
mountain on the table, sitting there, and we left. He says $4K every week. Okay, I would have made money, but I was 6 to 12 months away from going to jail. You would have never heard about Patrick Bet David.
Yep.
So the running mates need to also be solid values and principles and character. You cannot compromise that part. That's also the fastest way to ruin your life. And you will get a sense if it's the right crowd or the wrong crowd. You will get a sense. You will know. You're not a dummy. We know when we're in a place where like, ooh, I'm having a little too much fun. This going a little too fast. And I don't know if long-term I admire that I want to be that man one day or that woman one day.
It's fun for the moment, but long-term.
And what's crazy is we know at a young age.
Yeah.
You know at a young age. Like, you know at 8 years old. It's not even like you learned this at 22 years old. You know. Like, it's a little too dangerous here what I'm doing with these guys. This could lead me into, some trouble. So, I think you got to also find that part. And, it's almost like you're a girlfriend that you will show publicly, where you're going to bring to your parents and, hey, Mom, look at this girl I just met, or look at this guy I just met. There's got to be something where you're proud to show them to your parents. Okay, you're proud to show your running mates to your parents, saying, hey, these are the guys I'm in business with.
Touche.
If you can do that, then guess what? You got something you can bank on. And if you find something like that, rule of thumb, don't screw it up.
Yep.
Don't screw it up. Be a valuable asset to that group, so you're also contributing. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.